Well, last session, Texas lawmakers spent record amounts of money funding a surge of DPS troopers along our border with Mexico. Now they want to make that spending permanent. So here to talk about that and other new laws taking effect on September 1st is AYAN MITTRA, the managing editor of the Texas Tribune. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. So you guys are publishing articles called 31 Days, 31 Ways. And one of the big things you're talking about is border security funding. Talk about that.
Right. So this was a big session in terms of funding for border security. $800 million was earmarked in the budget for border security this time, which is a sharp increase from the last session. And so what this is, a lot of it's going towards is to fund more DPS troopers along the border. There was a big surge in undocumented immigrants that came through the border last year, and so the reaction from the lawmakers was that there needed to be a bolstering in the number of troopers on the border. So that's what a lot of this is doing. So now the funding is coming through, and so they're starting to have training academies to get these troopers ready to go.
Yeah, so that was going to be my next question. How is law enforcement getting ready for this? We just ran this story the other day about how they may select one or two from every agency.
Right, so there's some concern among some local agencies there along the border saying, you know, where they're a little concerned that there may be people leaving their agencies to go through this new initiative through the DPS, and so the DPS is saying, no, we're not going to be raiding anybody's agencies. We're going to only have one or two people that will allow to be picked from each agency, and they're saying that they're getting lots of applicants from all over the state. So they're saying this is going to be a statewide effort, not just a local effort.
And they're no short on applications for people wanting to do this.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's switch gears and talk about babies. Babies, unfortunately, they get abandoned at times, and there's a baby Moses law to try to help them, but there are some changes to that?
Right, so 16 years ago, Texas actually was one of the first states to pass this law where there was no charges of abandonment if you left a newborn at a fire station or at an emergency hospital. And so there are these new facilities now, these freestanding emergency rooms that are not covered under the original law. So this law is to help make sure that the people who drop their newborns off, if they leave their newborns at these facilities, that they're not charged with abandonment. So this is just to make it very clear that this is not going to lead to charges if they do leave their babies there.
So was there a finding that people are leaving their children there?
That's exactly what happened. There were some parents that were leaving newborns at these facilities, and though technically they were not supposed to, or they could be charged, they wanted to make sure the lawmakers did that this wasn't going to be an area where they'd be charged in.
All right, next week you guys are going to be talking about K2 and cutting film incentives. Can you give us a little preview of what's going to be coming up?
Sure. On the K2, there's a new law. K2 has already been banned statewide, but it only covered a certain number of combinations of chemicals for this synthetic drug. So this law looks to try to expand on the previous law and make sure more of these substances are banned. There's a lot of chemical compounds that were being used, and since there's not a specific compound here, they wanted to make sure they were covering more. And with the film incentives, there was a big cut for film incentives this year, which is causing some concerns among some production companies that they may lose some business with films to border states like Louisiana and New Mexico. And
that's been an ongoing conversation for years in the state as well. All right, you can check out the Texas Tribune, of course, for more information on that. We certainly appreciate you stopping by. Thanks so much. All right.